I don't know if these words really affect us. When Jesus says, go do likewise. Whether it means a serious job for us, or whether it is just a statement, or whether it is just a model of the story of the Samaritan. It is important to see when Jesus answered this lawyer, you have answered right. Do this and you will live. Now when we see Jesus Christ saying, go and do likewise, that means He is giving you a chance to live a full life. And therefore He says to this man, you have answered right. Do this. Go do likewise. Do this and you will live. And if we are not going to do this, we are dead. We live dead lives. And if we see in the life of St. Francis of Assisi, this was real, very true. He, coming from a very rich family, must have seen the riches of the world, and being a merchant son, must have seen the best of things in the life. And money must have been of real great value for him. But it becomes peanuts in his life because he finds there is so much of value in what Jesus says when He says, go do likewise. He leaves his father, he leaves the property, he goes in search of the real truth of love. And I'm sure he found it very early. As he was going, he found the church, and there the church was in ruins, and therefore God speaks to him and says, this church is in ruin, rebuild it. And he knew that rebuilding the church was not so important, but rather the ruins of the society. The ruins of society is nothing but the poor and the downtrodden. They are the ruins of our life. They are the ruins of our society. If we are able to repair that part of the community, of those who are very poor, we are doing what Jesus said, go do likewise. And therefore, when St. Francis of Assisi rebuilt that church, he found that there is so much to do. He would suddenly go and help the poor. He knows how important it was to lift the poor. He lived in Assisi, and Assisi there were these great, like Jamindars, who owned a lot of property. And the poor were, in a way, put to so much of pain by these great landowners that their rights were not, in a way, looked into. And therefore, St. Francis of Assisi fought for their rights. He also took a group of people to Rome and wanted to go and meet the Pope and wanted to say, this is what is happening and you have to do something for the church. He was not allowed to enter inside Rome. And that is why if you go to Rome, you will find at the gates of Rome, beautiful statue of St. Francis and few followers being stopped. And those statues prove that the church was very far from the poor. And they didn't want him to come to the Pope. Then Pope Innocent III came to know that they stopped him because he wanted to speak about the poor to the Pope. And there he gave him an audience, and that is how he could bring about a lot of change in the system of the laborers in Assisi. We also know that he was a great desire of bringing the mercy of God, as we see in today's Gospel reading, the Samaritan, that he had compassion and mercy. And St. Francis of Assisi had that compassion and mercy. Once it happened on an Easter night, when he was going for the Mass, and while he was returning, he put his hand inside his pocket, took out all the money that he had, put it into the hands of the poor, and then he walked off. But slowly he wanted to see what was the reaction on the poor man's face. And when he turned around, he found Jesus standing there. He didn't find the poor man. And that was the time when Francis thought that it is not the poor that I have to see for reactions, but the desire to see the reactions of Christ that I am able to help the humanity. And that is how we see that he becomes a great Samaritan for quite a lot of people. St. Francis of Assisi had great love for the poor and had that generous heart. And that generous heart is not only for one who is wounded, like how we see the Samaritan seeing this wounded man. He was for all great support and help. And that is how he reached out to so many people. We also know that he had great love for animals. He could go and talk to them. He could go and speak to the wild animals when he walked away into the wilderness. And how he could challenge that all these animals are great support for his spirituality, especially when he is alone. The animals will be there. And that is why today, 4th of October, we have a special blessing of all the pets. And pets are very important, especially for religious people and priests. If you don't have anyone, you can have a pet. That's the best companion you can have. I remember in Chennai, one of the sisters, elderly sister, had a squirrel. She didn't dare the squirrel, but the squirrel would come to her bed and she would feed them. And the squirrel would go away. Surprising. An elderly nun having so much of love for that squirrel. And you can also have the same love for these animals. All that you have to do is store something that you can and feed them. In Chikoti Gardens, there is one young girl who brings 7 packets of some food. And every day she comes for a walk. And every day there are 7 dogs which come, stay at that particular place where she would pass. And she would give those packets to those dogs and make her walk also complete. And she would come to the church, finally say her prayers in Holy Trinity Church and go back. She has a great love. What makes her to carry 7 packets early in the morning to feed stray dogs? It's not that the stray dogs are encouraged to live, but rather it is sad to see that nobody feeds them. There are so many people during the lockdown also feeding the stray dogs. And one of them is one of my grandniece who used to take some food and go and give to the dogs. She would say, "Mommy, how will they survive?" This is important. How will they survive is what St. Francis said to Pope Innocent III. How will they survive? And therefore we see that it is that generous heart that can bring also the love for the pets. If you don't have a pet, but if you have some grains, put it on the wall, put it somewhere where you keep it. The birds, the animals will come, eat and go, and they will know who did it. They will know whose hands were those that kept those grains there. And they will become your friends. And that is how you make pets. And that is one great consolation in our lives. Therefore you find St. Francis of Assisi as a great Samaritan had a penitent heart. And that is why he would go and embrace the crucifix and make his confession to Jesus. And one day it happened that when he was holding on to the crucifix of Christ and making his confession in the ears of Jesus, his right hand came and held him up like this and made St. Francis feel the hands of Jesus upon him. Therefore, if you go to Assisi, you will find one of the crosses known as the Confession of St. Francis of Assisi, where you find Jesus at one hand like this and St. Francis making his confession with Jesus. This is to show that he had a poor heart to make his desires kingdom pure. Today, when we look at the great feast of St. Francis of Assisi, let us learn that we have a wonderful Pope who is working upon many things for the church to become regenerated, the church to become totally active, the church to become like how St. Francis of Assisi would desire. And therefore we should pray for our Pope, and the synod is going on from the next week onwards. We pray that he be inspired more and more by St. Francis of Assisi.